Hi, welcome. Good evening,
It's with Mr.
everyone.
Bingham.
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing tonight?
Awesome.
Nice. If y'all want to drop in the chat as we wait for everyone else to trickle in here, just announce yourself. If this is your first meeting, please let us know and where you're joining us in from tonight. We would love to know where everyone is joining us from. And yeah, if it's your first meeting or if it's your third or fourth meeting, then that's fine, but let us know. And I just want to make a quick disclaimer that this meeting is being recorded. So do keep that in mind that we are recording this meeting to share with those supporters and our members who are unable to join us tonight. But I'm so happy to see, I see some recurring faces. Hey, Christine. Hey, Jay. All right, so we have an exciting night planned for everyone today. I see someone has their hand raised. Hey, is that Craig or Kendall? Hey, how are you? Yeah, I see we have a lot of people returning, people joining us from all over tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and get us started so as not to lose any time this evening as we wait for people to trickle in. And just a quick overview of tonight. So as you all know, for our membership meetings, we try to bring you information regarding the movement and what is going on in our communities. And tonight, what we have planned for you is first, we're going to do our welcome, and we're going to, of course, have our usual grounding exercise and announce some of our new members. And then we're going to provide you with some updates as to what's been going on at Initiate Justice overall on our organization and provide you with some updates from each of our committees. As you all know, we do have 5 active committees that work and coordinate together to push our legislation and to advance our efforts in this movement to abolish prison. So we're going to give you updates from each of our committees. And then for our main event, which we're super excited to bring to you all tonight, we're going to have the leaders of the Repeal 3 Strikes Coalition present to you all tonight. And not only are they going to present some information and inform you on the Repeal 3 Strikes Coalition and what they are doing to repeal 3 strikes in California, but we're also going to have some breakout sessions and some discussions with those leaders. Sorry, as I mute a few people, with those leaders, some discussions in breakout groups with those leaders and our peers. So that's how the night will go. And then, of course, as usual, we will wrap up at around 8:20 with some updates and some upcoming events and announce, of course, our member of the month. So make sure that you stay tuned at least until 8:20 so that we can recognize our member of the month. And if you are new, if today is your very first membership meeting with Initiate Justice, we highly encourage you to stay on after 8:30 for just about a 10 to 15 minute orientation that myself and Daisy will conduct with you all. So yeah, super excited to have everyone here. My name is Antoinette Ratcliffe. I am the outside organizing coordinator with Initiate Justice. And as I'm always honored to announce, my co-host for tonight is Daisy, our statewide advocacy manager.
Hi, welcome everybody. Just wanting to say excited for tonight's program. I'm DJing in the back, making sure we're all ready to go for tonight's meeting, but just excited to see you all here, and just let us know in the chat if it's your first time, if you're returning. We save the chat and go through it and make sure that we answer any unaddressed questions, and just make a note of who's brand new, who's returning. So we'd love to see it all. So let us know in the chat.
Yes, thank you so much, Daisy. So I'm actually going to now pass it along to our healing queens, our healing warriors, Indigo and or Rashida, who's going to get us grounded tonight and get us in a comfortable space and bring us present here. in this space.
Yes, welcome everyone. I will be leading the meditation or breathe deep. It's not meditation tonight, but more so like a deep breathing activity. Um, like Antoinette said, we have a lot to talk about, and I just thought it would be very important to just introduce and identify like how we breathe, right? Like, so today has been a busy day for some of us, and how often or how many times out of today do we take to just notice the pattern of our breathing and taking control of our breathing? Because of course that leads to how we think, how we interact. Our breathing, it literally guides us. And so I'll play a soft music, and I just ask that you inhale and exhale with me at the sound of my voice. And while you're doing that, I ask that you, of course, get in a comfortable position, and you can softly gaze your eyes, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. I ask that you inhale with me, paying attention to your breathing, inhaling through your nose at your own pace. And when comfortable, I ask that you release your breathing through your mouth slowly. Breathing in through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. Again, paying attention to your rhythm. How are you feeling? Inhaling all of the beauty and all of the joy and all of the victories of today. Exhaling anything that no longer serves you in this moment. I ask that you be intentional for this moment. Inhaling through your nose, releasing any tension, any stress, any anxieties, any barriers through your mouth. Again, a couple more breaths, breathing in through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. Asking yourself, what is your intention? Again, to gather more information, to be a resource, to be a support. In this moment, what would you like to provide and what would you like to take away? Breathing in, breathing out, understanding the importance to ask yourself for permission when you need to walk away, and take a second if at any point you feel overwhelmed during tonight's meeting. Breathing in, breathing out, understanding that the work that we do, we're doing it in community and we're doing it with purpose. And in order to do the work, we must first take care of ourselves first, mind, body, and spirit. And it starts with just taking care of ourselves first through deep breathing. Exhaling with me again through your nose. Exhaling through your mouth 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale power. Inhale strength. Inhale optimism. Inhale love. And slowly exhale. Come back to center. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes. And I ask that you enjoy our meeting for tonight and all that we have to offer. And again, be graceful to yourselves. Take care of yourselves. And we'll take care of each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Rashida. And welcome everybody to our April member meeting of 2021. We are here 4 months into the new year, and just excited to see all of you with so much happening at Initiate Justice. We have a lot of exciting updates to share with you all. We are full blast in spring, ready to take on the legislative year, as we continue to work on our goal to end mass incarceration and really uplift the voices of those who are most impacted. So if this is your first time, welcome to the meeting. This is our house. This is, your family here. Everybody, has seen each other at multiple meetings. Of your first timer, share that with us. We'd love to see you come back. But just wanted to say thank you to all of you, our guests who are here in space with us. We hope that you enjoy this meeting that we are going to be presenting for all of our members this month. So I wanted to start off by announcing our official new outside members. So here at Initiate Justice, we have a membership structure where folks can become outside members, and that's anybody, folks who are impacted or just allies who want to support our movement and are not impacted. And you do this by attending 3 out of 4 consecutive meetings and being active in at least one of our committees. We'll be talking more about the committees later on in the meeting, but that's just the requirements that are needed for folks to become outside members. So this month, we are excited to announce that we have 14 new outside members. A lot of these individuals are people who have already been actively involved in various committees. And so we are really excited to be able to announce you as our official outside members for the month of April. So please join me in welcoming these new members. Feel free to use your Zoom reactions, celebratory clap hands, drop them in the comments. We love to see it happening. But without further ado, our new members that are being inducted into the IJ Hall of Fame outside membership structure are Alexis G, Angie J, Caitlin K, Karina G, Danielle R, Fatima S, J H, Jeanette C, Jennifer P, Jennifer T, Jocelyn J, Melinda N, Neva M, and Tiana M. A lot of these members, congratulations, you have been actively showing up to our member meetings and supporting our committees in various efforts. So we are so thrilled to have you part of our outside membership structures. Some of these folks on this list have actually been eagerly asking me when their turn is up next to be announced. So I know this is something that a lot of people have been waiting for. So a huge, huge congratulations to all of you for being new outside members. I will be sending an email to all of you to request your information so that we can send out member welcome packages. For the folks in our March rollout, we actually are growing so fast that we ran out of shirts. So we're actually in the process of reordering shirts so that way we can send all of our members their t-shirt, make sure that we get your sizes. So be patient as we order some of those shirts for you all. But that's good news because that means we're growing and we love to see our membership grow. So keep inviting people to our meetings, keep inviting people to come and learn about the movement and how they can participate and become involved. And a huge, huge congratulations to our new outside members. So I just wanted to start off with that before I pass it off to Antoinette, who's gonna give us some organizational updates.
Thank you, Daisy, and thank you to all of our new Initiate Justice members. It is super exciting to be able to announce 14 new members this month. We appreciate your dedication and we appreciate your involvement in this movement to abolish prisons through Initiate Justice. So thank you. So I just want to cover a few updates as far as what is going on here with Initiate Justice, what's new in our organization. So first and foremost, we have a new addition to our team. We have a new staff member, a new full-time staff member here at Initiate Justice, Ra, who is officially our new communications consultant. So super excited. If you see changes in our, whether it's social media outreach or just our communication strategy in general, we're honored to welcome Ra on the team, who's going to be leading our efforts in the communications aspect here at Initiate Justice. So as always, Initiate Justice is completely led by system impacted individuals. Ra herself, she's also system impacted. So we're super excited to be able to bring her on the team to help us improve our communications efforts and strategies from the perspective of someone who is formerly incarcerated. So welcome, Ra. And then I also want to provide an update on our Institute of Impacted Leaders. So it's my honor to always announce and remind everyone and to our new members, introduce you to the Institute of Impacted Leaders, which is our 12-week community organizing and advocacy training program, in which it is designed specifically for system impacted individuals, those who are formerly incarcerated or have loved ones who are currently or formerly incarcerated, to equip you with the tools, the skills, and the knowledge needed to raise your voices and be politically active in this climate here in the state of California. So we do this by teaching you the essentials of community organizing. We do this by teaching you how the California legislative process works and how a bill becomes a law. And then by also empowering you with the knowledge needed to actually take part in that process in proposing new legislation and helping legislation pass the state legislatures. So for this year or this spring session, we have 4 active cohorts running for the Institute of Impacted Leaders. And that's over 80 individuals who are soon going to be graduated as official outside organizers who assist us in leading this work by taking leadership roles, whether it be with staff, such as myself, such as Daisy, such as Indigo and Rashida, who lead our healing committee. They also do exactly that, take up leadership roles in our committees and really serve as a resource to our members and guiding you through this process of impacting legislation and mobilizing your local community members. So we're super excited to announce that our Institute of Impacted Leaders is progressing well. Next week, we'll be moving on to our policy advocacy section, where we actually discuss being active in the political climate. And I would like to just acknowledge that of our Institute of Impacted Leaders, we already have over 50 participating in our spring legislative visits, already working and meeting with their assembly members and mobilizing their community members to meet with their representatives to advance our co-sponsored legislation. So Daisy's going to talk more about our spring legislative visits, but I just wanted to shout out the Institute of Impacted Leaders, which I am a product of, and so proudly to be so. Also want to express my appreciation for our spring interns. So Initiate Justice this spring is being assisted by 15 Cal State LA interns. And these are students of the criminology department or the, criminal justice or criminalistics department at Cal State LA. And this class in particular is Professor Akila Nant's class, who's a huge supporter and strong advocate of us here at Initiate Justice. So we have 15 interns that have been assisting us this spring. They're in various fields, helping us with the further developing our chapter model that we're planning to roll out, assisting us in some translating of our letters that go to our inside members. I know we have a couple, I've seen some roll in on this call, so I just want to express my appreciation for you all in assisting us this spring. In addition, and if you work at or are a student at or faculty at a college locally or in the state of California and would like to have interns join with Initiate Justice, please feel free to reach out to us, either myself or Daisy, who we basically manage the mobilizing of our outside organizers and our outside members. So I'm going to plug my email here in the chat just for anyone who, would be interested in or would like to see how to get their campus involved in or interning with Initiate Justice. So also, we want to highlight our spring legislative visits that are happening right now. So I'm going to pass it on to Daisy to talk a little bit more about our spring ledge visits.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Antoinette. So for folks who are new to Initiate Justice, we really focus on empowering impacted people and giving them the tools and knowledge they need to become involved with legislative advocacy. That really is one of our forefront issues that we'd like to get our members involved in, because anybody can participate in legislative advocacy. But we know that really it's the stories of those who are directly impacted that have that ability to help us shift the narrative in what we're trying to do. So but we do this through legislative visits. And so Initiate Justice every year has a set of bills that we co-sponsor, and bills are proposed laws that are going through the process in the California state legislature. And so we have assigned representatives throughout the state that can vote and decide whether that bill should actually move on to the next phase and eventually become law. And so this year, as we've mentioned in past meetings, we are co-sponsoring several bills. And so we are engaging our members on the outside in legislative visits in the spring, which is happening now. We just kicked off our spring series last week, and we actually had 9 visits last week. So we started off really strong. We have participation from over 80 Initiate Justice members. So that's a high number of people who are wanting to use their voice, whether they're impacted or not, and they just want to help us get visits scheduled in their districts, which is also a great way to support our movement. And so of these 80 individuals that have already signed up to participate, at least half of them said that they have never had a legislative visit before. It's their first time. So we equip our members with the information they need to prepare in advance of the meeting. So we currently have members participating in over 45 assembly districts. And in the state assembly, there are 80 districts. So of those 80, we have at least half where we're scheduling visits. And so ways that people can plug in to support is, if you're not signed up already to do that, you can sign up and just indicate what your level of experience is, because that gives me a good understanding as far as where you stand with these types of visits. And that way I know how to prepare, help you prepare for these meetings. But you know, for other people who maybe are unsure if you can help, really, we need every single person to support with this, especially in areas where maybe you might be the only person that lives in that district. And so it's always best for us to schedule a meeting with a constituent, which is someone that lives in that district, because your voice is powerful in that particular district. And so we support these visits by including someone who can lead that visit, and also bring other IJ members for support. That way you can feel the power of Initiate Justice in that meeting when we're advocating for our bill. So so far, we since last week, we had 9 visits. This week, we have a couple of more. So we still have plenty more visits to schedule. And as folks continue to sign up for these visits, they will just keep on happening. But just wanted to really encourage folks to sign up if you haven't done so already. For folks who are already members, and maybe you moved or you don't know if you've updated your information, I'm also going to drop in the chat our link where you can update your rep in our membership base, because sometimes there are individual districts where we need to send particular calls to action. So if we know if you are in a district, that helps us email those particular members to say, hey, we need your help in this area because your member, is someone that we need to vote yes on the bill. So if you update your representative, you can do that by clicking on this link. That's going to be dropped in the chat. And again, as we do with all of our meetings, all of this information will be sent in an email where you will have access to that as well. But if you are inclined to do so right now, I just dropped the link in the chat. Take a second to update your representative, and that will help us stay updated as we continue to move through our goals. Just wanted to give that quick update before turning it back over for committee updates.
Thank you, Daisy. And the spring legislative visits are a great opportunity to serve as an introduction to meeting with your representative, because Daisy provides such an amazing foundation of support and guidance. And then also you get the opportunity to meet with others in your community. So we plan these visits in groups. So you're not going in alone. You're not meeting with your representative by yourself, but you have a group of constituents and other impacted individuals to support you in meeting with your particular representative. So it's, again, great opportunity to serve as an introduction to meeting with your assembly member or senator. So please sign up if you're interested in joining us. And at this point in time, I'm actually going to pass it over to our committee leads to give us some updates on what is happening with all of our working committees that actually make this work possible. So first, I'm going to pass it over to our advocacy committee with Sarah.
Thanks, Antoinette. And for those who don't know me, I'm Sarah. I use she, her pronouns. I'm on the policy team with Greg. And our first updates are two of our co-sponsored bill, AB 256, the Racial Justice Act for All, and AB 292, Access to Programming Act, both passed Assembly Public Safety on March 23rd. So the next step will be Assembly Appropriations in May. Really exciting that both of those passed, and definitely a reason to take a breath. And as we were reminded earlier, and just kind of celebrate that little win. Next, for one of our other pieces of co-sponsored legislation, AB 1509, we are going to public safety either on the 20th or the 27th of this month. So if your assembly member sits on public safety, it would be great if y'all could call them and ask them to support 1509. And I'm putting in the chat right now all the information y'all would need to do that. So first, there's the people who are in Assembly Public Safety Committee. So look at those folks. And then there's the Find Your Rep link, which you can also use to update your state representatives for the link that Daisy shared earlier. And Antoinette pointed out earlier that also the names that pop up once you type in your information are actually clickable links that give you, like, bring you to their website, so that all their contact information and everything is on there. And all you need is your name, your zip code, and so that they know you're a constituent, your support of AB 1509, and you to ask for support from the member. And if you feel comfortable, you can also add the script provided from Restore Justice's toolkit. And for some reason right now, the link isn't copying as clickable. So we'll make sure that that is also included with Daisy's follow-up email with all of this information. I know that that was kind of a lot, so feel free to email Greg or I with questions, and I'll make sure to put our contact information in the chat as well. Other than that, for Advocacy Committee, we also have next Tuesday, abolition office hours from 5:30 to 6:15 p.m. We have our next committee meeting on the 20th from 5:30 to 6:15. And then we also have policy office hours Thursday, April 22nd from 5 to 6. And so we want to note that originally all our events were on Tuesdays, and but we switched the time for Greg's policy office hours to ensure that all the cohorts could attend. So I just wanted to make sure that anyone who was regularly attending those meetings notices the time switch and the day switch on that. And if you would like to know anything more about abolition office hours, our committee meetings, what we do in general, or Greg's policy office hours, feel free to sign up for Advocacy Committee. And again, all of this information with the link I just put in the chat. But again, all of the links and information and everything will be sent in Daisy's follow-up email. So don't feel like you need to write anything down or anything like that. Daisy will make sure that you have all of the information. And other than that, I'm excited to get to our 3 strikes presentation, so I'm going to keep it short. But if y'all have any questions or anything, feel free to message or to email greg@initiatejustice.org or policy@initiatejustice.org. And I threw both of those emails in the chat. But yeah, thanks y'all. Pass it back to Antoinette.
Thank you, Sarah. Sarah's our awesome policy fellow, and she does amazing work to assist our advocacy committee and help Greg lead our advocacy committee. So super excited. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing those updates. And we're excited to get AB 1509 through the legislative process, just as we've been moving 256 and 292. So let's continue to push, y'all. And I'm actually going to pass it on now for committee updates from our Inside Membership Committee, led by Crystal.
Thank you, Antoinette. Hi, everyone. My name is Crystal, she, her, hers. I am the Inside Membership Coordinator with Initiate Justice. I want to start off by thanking wholeheartedly all of our participants for our data entry night last month. It really did take me this long to review all 53 folders. Very, very appreciative of everyone who attended and everyone who continued working on names after the event. Special shout out to our facilitators, Jessica H, Nick M, MJ, Caitlin K, Rachel C, and Sophia K. We entered 3,115 names that night, and our membership jumped to 39,539 members. So it was from 36,000-ish to 39,000. Little caution, this might decrease when we see who has come home. But again, that number drop is also a big celebration because we want to bring everyone home. So if that number drops, that is okay. And lastly, I want to give a huge shout out to 3 volunteers who have been entering names on their own time and have passed the 1,000 names entered mark. And that is Crispy, Jessica H, and Nick. They've each entered over 1,000 names on their own time. So thank you so much for everything that you do to our Inside members. We are truly appreciative. My next committee meeting is Wednesday, April 14th at 5:30. I'll drop the RSVP link in the chat, and contact me for any questions, crystal@initiatejustice.org. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Crystal. It is amazing to hear how exponentially our Inside membership base is growing and how our volunteers are keeping up with that growth. Y'all are rock stars, absolutely phenomenal. And I'm just so grateful that we at Initiate Justice are so grateful to have your support and so consistently. So I join in Crystal in thanking and expressing gratitude to all of our volunteers that assist our Inside Membership Committee. And now with that, I'm gonna pass it over to Lee, our official hype man and our Inside Organizing Committee lead. So Lee.
What is up, my social justice soldiers? Welcome to another Initiate Justice membership meeting. My name is Lee Gibson. I'm the Inside Organizing Manager here at Initiate Justice. And let me tell you a little bit about what I do at the Inside Organizing in the IO committee. We take all of those members, hopefully, that Crystal has been recruiting, 39,000. We activate them, we educate them, and we get them to be leaders upon their facilities, on their yards, in the institutions. And hopefully when they return home, they get involved in this work too, because we need more social justice soldiers just like you all to come out here and dismantle this system, abolish prisons, and make things happen. We currently have 162 Inside organizers. We do phone training to increase their responsibilities to senior Inside organizers and hopefully mentors to where they are training folks inside, and they can take some of those, the weight and the responsibility off of us, and to be able to become activated and leaders within their own facilities. Currently, we have rolled out a new curriculum, a new workbook, And with the help of Cheryl and the rest of the IO committee, we were able to send in 242 curriculums and workbooks this last week, and we have a lot of people in queue that want to also do it. So that leads me to my point about the IO committee and what we're going to need. We need folks to come in. We're going to need reviewers of these curriculums as they come in to make sure that the folks inside understand not only the legislative process, the intersectionality, how to organize and activate their fellow members or their fellow people that are on the institutions or on the yards with them. And so my committee meets the first Thursday of every month, except for this Thursday. We meet actually tomorrow. I like to roll out right after the members meetings to be able to kind of bring in as many folks as I can. We're going to need all hands on deck. So please, tomorrow, if you can drop me a line at lee@initiatejustice.org. You can register. We meet at 5:30 tomorrow. And so if y'all can come in and you can lend a hand, we would very much appreciate it. We'll start taking in names and getting y'all trained and activated and to be able to review these curriculums that are coming in. And with that, I'm going to pass it right back to Antoinette. Thank you so much, folks.
Thank you, Lee. It's exciting to hear those numbers growing as well. So I'm actually going to pass it over to myself as I provide you with some updates on our outside membership committee. So our outside membership committee is one of our newer committees in which we are focusing on empowering and building our outside membership base and our outside organizers. So we're looking for ways and developing ways with our members to strategize, increase in mobilizing, to strategize ways to further empower our members to be more active in their communities and take more action in advocating for our legislation, advocating for an end to prison. So one thing that we've been focusing on with our outside membership committee is really power building, meaning finding ways to invest back into our members so that they genuinely have the tools and the empowerment and the support needed to address our calls to action, needed to communicate why this work is so important and how to get involved in this work within their own communities, and really connect with and bring their local community members into this work with Initiate Justice. So our discussions have been extremely effective and very fruitful, and they've resulted in a few things that actually Initiate Justice is actively working to produce, which are resources for individuals, for all of our members, especially our new members who, for instance, didn't go through the Institute of Impacted Leaders, because anybody can become an outside member. You don't have to go through the Institute of Impacted Leaders, but we want to ensure that you still are equipped with the tools and the knowledge needed to be effective in advocating and using your voice in the state of California to change laws and really impact those laws that govern your daily lives. So some things that we've most recently worked on at our last outside membership committee meeting is we strategized ways for reaching out to and engaging our community members in our legislative visits. So as Daisy discussed earlier, our visits with our representatives are extremely important, and we're excited to have such growing support this spring amongst our members. And we have, like she said, over 80 individuals participating. Well, we wanted to find ways to really activate our local community members who maybe aren't as familiar with this work. So what I'm going to actually plug into the chat, and these are some ways and strategies that you all can take a look at and feel the opportunity or feel the urge to actually use these strategies in your own communities, to reach out to your peers, your neighbors, your friends, your family, and encourage them to take part in our legislative visit series, or really just take part in meeting with their representatives in general. So that tool that I just plugged is really just the results of our most recent brainstorming. And one thing that I want to highlight that actually was a result of that last meeting is a social media push or a social media post that we produced from one of our former inside organizers, now outside members, currently developing and future outside organizers, Jay, who actually did a radio interview on Sirius XM and talked about how easy it is and how important it is to meet with their representatives. And we created a social media post out of this to help share it with our network. So please take a moment to look at that, and hopefully you feel empowered to also take part in our legislative visit series or to reach out to your community members to do so. We are going to be shifting our focus moving forward and really, actually not shifting, really focusing in more on our power building through our chapter model. So our next few outside membership committee meetings will be really focused on the developing and decision-making process for our chapter model. So please feel free to join us. Our next committee meeting is going to be Wednesday, April 28th at 5:30 p.m. And we hold these the fourth Wednesday of every month. So Daisy will plug that link in the chat in just a moment here for you to RSVP for our next committee meeting, but we highly, highly encourage you to join us. If you have any questions or any concerns or just want to provide your input in regards to the outside membership committee, please reach out to either myself at Antoinette@initiatejustice.org or my colleague Daisy at initiatejustice.org. Thank you, Sarah, for plugging those. And I'm going to pass it on to another very important committee, our healing committee with Rashida and Indigo.
Sometimes you gotta heal it out. Sometimes you gotta come to the circle and heal it out, y'all. I just want to encourage, I'm Indigo, by the way. I want to encourage everyone to come to the healing circles. We have a men's circle, we have formerly incarcerated people circle, we have people with incarcerated loved ones circle. So please come through and just be in community with us. And we know we do activities and we check in with each other. It's all love. So the men's circle is happening on second Mondays. That's April 12th. Formerly incarcerated people circles April 19th. 2 days after my birthday. And the incarcerated loved ones, people with incarcerated loved ones circles April 21st. And then our healing committee is April 26th. Yes, thank y'all. I am such an Aries. Happy Aries season to everybody. And you know what? We can use some Aries energy because it's legislation popping off and healing is happening. I know a lot of y'all doing y'all shadow work. And we also have this like amazing platform to inspire each other and our loved ones and really like end prisons for real. Like when I think about that, I'm just like, I'm so grateful for y'all and for each other. So yes to all the breathing, yes to all the organizing. That's the healing committee update. And please come through to a healing circle. The RSVPs are I know they're on the website and they're in the Instagram bio. So peace.
Thank you, Indigo. And yes, I was gonna plug it, but Daisy just plugged the healing, the RSVP link for our healing committee. So at that link, you can use it to RSVP for any of the healing circles and for the healing committee meeting as well. Thank you, Indigo. Thank you, Rashida. I think it's very important to realize the importance of healing. I think essentially, it's the epitome of this work. We do this work to heal ourselves and to heal our community. So definitely encourage you as well to take part in the healing circles, whichever one is applicable to you. And also we're gonna plug into the chat is our calendar of events. So we talked about a lot of events, a lot of committee meetings that are coming up, and we want to ensure that you have access to them. So we're going to share with you all our calendar of events where you can actually take a look at all of the events that are happening this month for the month of April. So we'll plug that into the chat as well. And Daisy beat me to that as well. Thank you so much, Daisy. And at this moment, I'm super excited to actually pass it on to Daisy, who's going to roll us into our main event for tonight.
Thanks, Antoinette. And we are on schedule. So everything's always perfect when we're running with the show on schedule. So in the chat, again, is a link to the calendar of events. Just wanting to show it for folks who maybe want to just get a peek of what that looks like. It is this beautiful calendar. It tells you what's happening for the month of April. If you click on the link for a meeting, it'll take you right to the RSVP page. So you'll be able to RSVP by clicking on that. So you are able to access this by clicking on the link in the chat, but we are going to send it to everybody in an email. So just feel free to download that now if you want to, but we will be sending it to you all. But thank you all again. And I also dropped in the chat a link for anybody who is new tonight, who wants to get involved with one of the committees. In the if you click on that link, you'll be able to fill out a new member form. And so that allows you to click which committees you're interested in signing up for. We'll add you to that committee's email list, and you'll be able to get more information about how to get involved with that particular committee. But for all new members, we in the new member orientation, we go over it a little bit more in detail. So just make sure you stay for that portion at the end of the meeting. But that is all. So thank you to everybody for giving our committee updates. Without further ado, let's move on to the next portion of our show, which is our special guest. So folks may be familiar, who, if you're in California or you're in the United States, maybe you're familiar with a piece of law that's been in the news lately, because we are actually mobilizing our folks to help us get it on the ballot next year. So in California, there's a law that's currently in existence that's known as 3 strikes. And our guests are going to talk a little bit more about what that is and why we are talking about it now. But in essence, there's a coalition of impacted members who are mobilizing this campaign to make sure that we can get it on the ballot next year in California to get rid of it. Because this is something that is impacting a lot of incarcerated folks in the state of California. And so it is time that we take our power back and let them know that we don't want this law to be in existence anymore. So that is where we are at today. We are going to be hearing from 3 very special guests who are part of this campaign known as the Repeal 3 Strikes Law Coalition. And so I want to introduce Yaya, Zakia, and Taina, who are going to lead us in a presentation. And feel free to introduce yourselves while I pull up the slides on my screen. But welcome and thank you so much for being here.
And maybe I can go ahead and start. Hey, y'all. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Taina Vargas. I'm the founder and executive director of Initiate Justice, but I'm also a member of the Repeal 3 Strikes Coalition Leadership Committee, thanks to the amazing work that Zakia, Yaya, and other folks have been doing. So glad to be here with y'all today.
I'll go next. My name is Zakia Prince. My pronouns are she and hers. And I am so happy to be here and in community with all of you tonight and to talk to you about the work that we have been doing around repealing 3 strikes. I'm personally impacted by 3 strikes as my husband is currently serving a 35-year to life sentence under the law. And, I'm just ready to repeal this and bring all of our folks home. So I'm gonna pass it over to Yaya.
Hello, everybody. It's an honor to be amongst esteemed people that have been really, really powerful in making change in California. So I'm incredibly happy and honored to be amongst you guys, and totally ecstatic to be able to share our vision with you guys and hope that, we can continue the momentum of reform in California and abolition of the system overall. And so it's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to give you a little bit of context about why I'm also in this movement to repeal the California 3 Strikes Law. Like Zakia, I am system impacted. I actually served 25 years to life on a 30-year to life sentence for second-degree robbery under the 3 Strike Law. And I was released on April 28th of 2020. Since my release, I've been grassroots building with Zakia and the 3 Strikes Repeal Coalition. And it's just been an honor just to be amongst people who are passionate about the work, who have committed their life to doing this, and have actually begin to get this ball rolling where we can actually repeal this three-strike law in 2022. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Daisy, can you go to the next slide for us?
You go.
And Yaya, we're so happy to have you home, and just excited about all the people we're going to be bringing home. But tonight we're going to talk about, who's behind the movement. So the people who have been working to get this on the ballot for next year. We're going to talk about our mission and our values. Also talking about the concept. So what is it exactly that we're trying to get on the ballot? And then we're going to kind of go through a rough timeline of what it's going to take for us to get this on the ballot from now until November 2022. And then we're going to talk about the money. So how much money have we acquired, where our money is housed, how much money we need to raise, and then talking about you all and how you all can plug in. And then we're going to be taking questions, and then we'll have a little bit of breakout discussion a little bit later. So we hope that you all are excited to hear, and yeah, let's get into it. So this right here is the folks who are meeting bi-weekly to move this work forward. And out of the steering committee, there are 5 people who are formerly incarcerated who have served under the 3 strikes law. There's 2 people who are currently incarcerated and serving time under the 3 strikes law. And then there is 1 person who is formerly incarcerated but didn't serve under 3 strikes. And then 3 people who are system impacted, and 1 person who's a carceral justice advocate. So it is so important for us to make sure that folks who are impacted are centered in this work and making sure that we're leading the movement to end this, because we know best what it is that we need in our communities, right? And just quickly going through like the different members, it's Erlon Woods, myself, Yaya, who you all have met tonight, Amber Rose Howard, who's the executive director of CURB, James King, who is the state campaigner at Ella Baker Center, Jada Raspberry, who's the statewide membership coordinator at CURB, Edmund Richardson, Taina Vargas, Aonisis Hernandez, who's the co-executive director of La Defensa in Los Angeles, and was the co-chair for Measure J in LA that passed this last November. And Fanon Figures, which today is his Freedomversary. Last year, August 7th, he came home. He was sentenced to 210 years under the 3 strikes law. And so just under 24 years of serving time, he got out last year on the 7th. So we're happy to have him home as well. Catherine Snyder and Tyrone Prince. And the organizations that are currently involved are Choose One, CURB, Initiate Justice, and La Defensa. And I will pass it over to Yaya to talk about our mission and values. Yeah, you're muted.
Sorry about that. All right, so I was saying that we all know that having a mission objective is the linchpin to every organization. And without that, organization is basically directionless and has no purpose. And so the Repeal California 3 Strike Law Coalition's mission is to aim to partner with grassroots organizations, community organizers, advocates, and directly impacted communities, working to repeal the California 3 Strikes Law with a 2022 ballot measure to ensure that the most affected people remain centered in our decision-making process in the movement. And I think why that's so important is because people like myself who have served so much time, who are directly impacted, who is in the midst of all of the things that, when we think about legislature processes and the laws that are passed, we are the ones that have been directly associated with those laws. And we are the ones who, especially myself, for 25 years, tried to figure out a way how to overturn the three strikes law. And so with a coalition like the Repeal Three Strikes Coalition, we want to definitely ensure that we create a viable blueprint for other states for similar laws like this. Because again, three strikes exist in every state throughout the United States. They have some type of version of it. Some versions are worse than California. So what we would like to do is create that blueprint and network with other states to ultimately eradicate the three strikes law across the board. What we also want to do is to reclaim, reimagine, reinvest dollars spent to maintain the three strikes law away from the carceral system and put that money back into the community through reentry, housing, education, job training, and to also consider this. When AB 109, Proposition 57, and a lot of these laws pass, when you look at the title and summary, there's always this section in the title and summary where money is allotted to go to some other source. With the Repeal Three Strikes, with the Repeal California's Three Strike Law Coalition, our idea is to make sure that those system impacted people who are released have an opportunity with some type of resources to back that opportunity up. Oftentimes laws are passed, people get out of institutions and they have no resources. So we want to ensure through this ballot measure that those resources that were allotted to incarcerating individuals for decades at a time goes back into the community to aid and assist individuals so that they'll have an opportunity, a successful opportunity in society, not to recidivate. Also, we want to consider, excuse me one second, I'm a little nervous, but we want to repeal this law because, again, our lives is not a game. When you think about this social construct of three strikes and you're out and it being associated with a game, how does that fare with a human life? When you think about an individual such as myself who had a second-degree robbery where I was 18 years old, and that second-degree robbery turned into two strikes, and then upon another conviction, I was given a 30-year to life sentence. That has to end because, again, as we say, our lives are not a game. When we think about how this looks conceptually, the purpose of the ballot initiative is, one, to repeal the three strikes law, but also to reinvest those savings again in the community. And how that happens is a total repeal with a three strikes law. With a total repeal of the three strikes law, we're looking at saving millions of dollars that can go to bettering our social situations in our communities. We also want to look at how sentences or individuals under the three strike law are sentenced. Those sentences will automatically be recalculated if an individual has served the base term of the primary offense. What does that look like? A primary offense for robbery is, I believe, 2, 3, and 6. So if an individual was served the primary offense or the time for that primary offense, then he will be automatically released. And so those who have exceeded the base term of their primary offense, again, according to the law, will be automatically released. Reinvestment, what does that look like for us? Education, community-based reentry, inclusive victims awareness services, housing for low income, working and middle income families, wellness services, and or workforce developments. We also want to be on a time frame where we can speed this process along to the degree that we have a working viable plan that can get this done in 2022. With you guys' help and other coalitions that we have partnered with, I'm confident that we can get this done. And again, a 1 million pardons for my nervousness, but again, my heart is totally in this, and base building is one of the things that I love to do, community outreach. And so with that, I end.
Damn.
Thank you so much, Yaya. Okay, we got a special guest. Erline Woods is also joining us, I see. But Yaya, you got this. Like, you know, we all are a community and we family.
It's all good.
All right, Erline, you want to say hello to everybody since you just poked in and dipped out?
Hello, everyone. My name is Erline Woods. I am one of the project leaders of this, and I appreciate that. I'm sorry for making you nervous, bro.
Get away from here.
But deuce.
All right, thanks, y'all. So now that we've talked about like the mission, the values, and the concept, and you know what we're trying to do, let's talk about how we're going to get there. Daisy, can you go to the next slide, please? So this is our rough timeline. So we're working to get some polling in the field this month. And then once we get our polling results back, then we'll be able to really craft and nail down our ballot language so that we know with what our concept is, we know what will speak to the electorate, the folks who are going to be casting their votes. And then in May, after we finalize our ballot language, then we'll submit the actual ballot title and summary around the beginning of the summer in June. And then after we submit the title and summary, then our next step is to gather all of these signatures. And the signature gathering process, it's always based on the last gubernatorial election. And it's a percentage of all of the votes that were cast in the last election when we selected Gavin Newsom. And based on those numbers, to be on the safe side, we need about 690,000 signatures, which is a big feat, but we can do it. And we'll have a few months to gather those signatures and turn them in. And then after we gather all of our signatures, then we're going to want to do some more polling and really figure out what our messaging is going to be so that we can finalize that. And then in April, really start an education campaign because part of one of the biggest challenges around 3 strikes is people are ill-informed. People, you know, don't know that it's even still a thing. People don't know that 3 strikes is still used as leverage in plea deals. They don't know that it's used to, you know, still strike people out. We've heard recent conversations around some of our progressive district attorneys with Chesa Boudin. I don't think I said that correctly. Chesa is what I'm normally used to calling him, and then with District Attorney Gascon. And, you know, 3 strikes has, you know, now been the conversation, and, you know, the fact that neither one want to apply 3 strikes, it's now getting some traction, and people are realizing that people are still being sentenced with the 3 strikes law. And so it's going to take a lot of education and a lot of showing people what public safety actually should be. And that's the things that Yaya was talking about, making sure that we are funding education, that we are funding mental health and wellness services, making sure that we are taking care of folks who are survivors when there is community harm. So it's going to be a huge feat to make sure that we're educating the community. And then in August of 2022, that's when it's going to be the real big push to get out the vote. And we are going to need all hands on deck to make sure that we're knocking on doors, hopefully we'll be able to knock on doors and we'll be way past COVID and all of this. But we want to be able to talk to our neighbors and tell them why we need to repeal 3 strikes and reinvest in our communities. And then lastly, in November 2022, we're going to win our campaign. And so, this is kind of just to give you all the scope of what we need to do to accomplish this goal. Daisy, can we go to the next slide? So now that we have talked about what we need to do, let's talk about where this money is. So we are a project of Smart Justice California, which is fiscally sponsored by Tides Foundation, Tides Advocacy. And I'm so sorry that my Where the Money Reside video is not uploaded, but normally you would be seeing our friend there. Next slide, please. So with the money that we have acquired so far, we've acquired about $225,000 in grant funding and about almost 28,000 in grassroots fundraising. And, we have been doing a pretty good job of kind of doing some easy fundraising, and some folks have believed in us early on and given us grants, but this year is when we are doing the big push to get the huge funding that we need. So if we can go to the next slide so that y'all can see why we need this huge push for funding. So this is the budget. One of the hardest things about a ballot campaign is that when it's a people-led ballot campaign, it takes a lot of money. And a people-led ballot campaign is when you have to go through the signature gathering process. So as you can see here, the signature gathering is the largest price tag in our budget. But just to kind of go through some of the things, we want to have $750,000 to be able to hire more campaign consultants, because it's going to take consultants and people that do this. We have to pay them to get this job done, and then we also want to pay some additional staff. It's great to like volunteer in our off times and on our weekends and evenings, but we need folks to be able to devote all of their time to getting this job done. $20,000 to do branded apparel to be able to resell. And then polling, we're going to need to do a couple rounds of polling, and that's going to be about $180,000. Then we need lawyers to make sure that we are on point. So we need to allocate about $200,000 to do that. And then, especially in COVID, until we are able to really get out and knock on doors, it's going to take a lot of money to reach folks through media and social media. And then, if we're able to have events or if we need to travel for the campaign, we're thinking $20,000. And then, again, that price tag for signature gathering, it's going to be about $7 million. And then just want to have some extra for miscellaneous things that pop up. And then because we're fiscally sponsored, there is a fee of 10% or so of all of our revenue. And so as you all can see, we need your help. And I'm going to pass it over to Taina to talk about how you all can help us get this done.
Absolutely. So yeah, who's feeling like we're ready to repeal 3 strikes in 2022? Like, who is tired of this racist law? Who is feeling like we have the power of the people and we can get this all done? I know that's how I'm feeling after listening to Yaya and Zykia speak. So I hope that at this point in the presentation, y'all are feeling so fired up and you're like, oh my goodness, what can I do to be involved? So there's a few different things that we can do at this point in the campaign. The first of which is you can become a donor. You know, we need to raise a lot of money and we need all funds. There is no donation that is too small or too big. So while I'm talking, I'm going to be dropping a couple links in here. So this is the link to our Act Blue account. So this money goes directly towards the ballot measure committee. So if you are feeling inspired and want to give us $5, $50, $500, whatever it is to help us get there, if you would also like to share that link, please do that. And I'm going to be talking about other ways that you can help us raise money in addition to becoming a donor. The second thing that you can do is sign up for our listserv, and I'm going to drop that link in here right now. So if you would like to get email updates in terms of what is happening with the campaign, because things will continue to progress, we will have like action items that develop as the campaign moves forward. So if you want to stay updated, please click that link and sign up for our email listserv. Help us get out the vote. So this is going to be a strategy that's going to be, you know, closer to campaign time. But as IKEA mentioned, we are going to need probably hundreds, if not thousands of volunteers to help us collect signatures, to help us spread the word when the time comes. So make sure that you're ready to do that when the time is here. Elevate this movement on your social media platforms. So if you are not already following Repeal 3 Strikes on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, make sure that you do that today. Go ahead, you know, right now and slide over to your social media. Most of us have probably been like looking at our social media when we've been in this meeting anyways. Just go ahead and slide through. Thank you, Zykia, for putting the handle, and follow Repeal 3 Strikes. And yeah, retweet our stuff, repost our stuff, put it in your story on Instagram. Make sure that all of your friends and family know about this campaign. And something else that I'm really excited to talk about is becoming a grassroots fundraiser. So can you go to the next slide, please, Daisy? All right, so I'm excited to announce that we are also launching a grassroots fundraising committee. So if you would like to help us raise money for this campaign and you want to be trained on how to do that, I'm going to be facilitating a training this Friday, April 9th from 6 to 7 p.m. I actually don't have the link up, so if somebody could please drop the RSVP link in the chat, that would be super great. But Zykia did an amazing job of putting together a grassroots fundraising toolkit. So I'll be sharing the toolkit with folks, and I'll be training you on, you know, what it is that you can do to raise money, you know, and it's whatever talents that you have, they can be used for helping us raise these funds. If you know, are musically inclined, maybe you can do a Zoom concert and get your friends to pay some money. If you know, can get some free goodies from your job, maybe you can do an online raffle. Something that I did because I love to bake is I ended up baking, oh God, a bunch of cookies, probably some, I think total about 1,700 cookies between Christmas and Valentine's Day. And I raised more than $7,000 for the campaign just by baking cookies. So, you know, we all have the power and ability to use our talents, our skills, our creativity to raise money for this campaign. And one of the main reasons that we're launching a grassroots fundraising committee is because like this campaign is run by the people. You know, we need to raise like, you know, Zykia said like $10 million, so that will require us to get some big donors. But at the end of the day, like this campaign belongs to us. It belongs to those of us who have loved ones impacted by 3 strikes. It belongs to those folks who have been in prison because of the 3 strikes law. So we want to pull like all of us together, to pull our resources together. You know, just because this is going to cost a lot of money doesn't mean that the people can't pull this off. So please RSVP. I saw the link was dropped there a couple of times. I really hope to see you all on Friday evening for the orientation. Can you go to the next slide, please? All right, so as you know, Zakia and Yaya have already said, quite a few times, our lives are not a game. Oh, sorry, you know what? Michelle, I see your question right here. Can you buy t-shirts? That's something that I neglected to mention, my bad. I'm also gonna drop a link here where folks can sign up to become a paid member. And if you become a member, you will get a shirt. I know you want this drip that me and Yaya are representing over here. So go
Wait,
ahead.
actually, Taina, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Because we're working on hearing back from the vendor, because it seems like we had a few more people than we expected become annual members. And so we're checking on our inventory, but definitely sign up and we'll reach out and make sure you all are plugged in once we know what our inventory is to get y'all dripping in this swag. I didn't wear mine tonight, I'm sorry, but they are so graciously and amazingly rocking it.
Oh, my bad. I didn't realize that we already had plenty of members signing up, right? It's turning to be really exclusive, so exclusive I wasn't even aware. Thank you, Zakia. But you will get it if you sign up. So yeah, the fact that this law is called 3 strikes and they use phrases like 3 strikes and you're out just shows like the extent to which they do not take our lives seriously. It shows the extent to which this law is deeply rooted in racism, in punitive justice, and 0% concern about public safety. I'm a softball player, and I don't think that this is a game. I don't think that we should be comparing people's lives, years, decades that they would spend in prison to a baseball game. So I'm hoping that 2022 is the last year that this law is in place. We can make a tombstone for it, say RIP 3 strikes 1994 to 2022, and make this a thing of the past. So can we go to the next slide, please? All right, now I think we have a little bit of time for Q&A, and then we're actually going to break out into groups to have a more in-depth discussion about what you can do to be involved in the campaign to repeal a 3 strikes law. I'm not sure, Daisy, like how we should facilitate the Q&A, but if folks just want to drop questions in the chat or unmute, I don't know, Daisy, I'll take your lead on this.
Yeah, Antoinette, actually, if you can do that, just because I am working on the breakout rooms right now, that would be fabulous.
Yeah, no worries, Daisy. I was actually going to volunteer to facilitate some of the questions that have been and are coming through our chat. So the first question is just, is there a 501c3 donation option? So I believe Zakia, right on time, just actually dropped that into the chat to donate via the actblue.com link. So if you are looking to donate to the C3 portion of the campaign, then that has been dropped. There's also another question by Jay who asked, what's the official website to add to my link tree? So if people want to add this to their link tree for their network, which website should they be plugging individuals to?
Thank you so much, Jay, for that question. We definitely appreciate you wanting to add us to your link tree. We are working on getting our website finalized. Hopefully it'll be completely done by this weekend. And we can give you the website, but it will not be active until likely next week. But I'll drop the website link in the chat. But thank you so much, Jay.
Okay, so I'll just plug in the donate Act Blue one, and hopefully I'll plug that one in. Thank you.
Exactly what I just put in the chat. I said go ahead and put the Act Blue in there for now.
Thank you for that question, Jay. And I'm scrolling through the chat to see if there's any other questions that we missed, but please feel free to drop them. Another one from Irma is, how will the message ease fear of increased crime with the repeal of 3 strikes. So basically around messaging, how can we ensure that we're not creating any fear and we don't feed into that fear mongering message that generally is produced?
Do either of you all want to answer that question, or you want me to? Okay. I couldn't see y'all, but I'll tell you where you. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna tell you go ahead because I could tell you couldn't see me.
All right. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna get those fear-mongering messages regardless. I mean, I'm pretty sure we got them even when we were talking about voting rights. And so they're inevitable. But one thing that we really want to focus on with this campaign is making sure that we're reinvesting in our communities, and that is what is actually going to keep our community safer. And you know, when people have everything that they need, our communities are going to be safer. So when their mental health needs are taken care of, when they have the education that they need, when they can go to the doctor without an issue, when, you know, they don't have to worry about housing, then our communities are going to be safer. And so we really want to focus on the reinvestment piece and making sure that we are funding our communities to make sure that they are safe. And we also want to just talk about how 3 strikes has not only impacted, you know, the people who are serving time, but it has devastated our families and our communities. And so when our families and communities are whole, then we're safer. And so, you know, we really want to focus on those messages. But when we do our second round of polling, that's when we're really going to be able to kind of test and finalize our messaging so that we know how to combat the fear mongering messages that we know we're going to get. But yeah, definitely focusing on making sure that people are taken care of as a whole, as our solution to public safety, and reuniting families and rebuilding communities.
Can I add something here?
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I really like what was just said, for one thing, and I also want to you know, say to Yaya what he said, you know, about reinvesting that money in our communities. It's like a few years ago it was like $47,000 to incarcerate you know, a 19-year-old kid for auto theft. Why can't we spend $47,000 a year on sending that same kid to an Ivy League college and turn him into a physician, or let him become an artist or a filmmaker or a healer or a social worker or something that contributes to our society? The whole paradigm itself is just ludicrous. The money we're throwing away and the lives that go with it. And secondly, when we get to talk about the fear mongering people that, you know, that are going to, you know, kind of contest our position, I would say to them, that net is not catching who they told you it was going to catch. In the fishing industry, they have something called bycatch. When they fish for tuna, they catch a lot of tuna, but they also catch a lot of bycatch. For instance, dolphin. Thousands and thousands of dolphin every year are slaughtered in bycatch. And that's what's happening with our kids. You know, the apex predators, the sociopaths that the politicians told you they were going to take off the street are accompanied by another 3,000 young kids who, you know, have just made a few mistakes and get caught up in that net, and their lives are sacrificed, you know, to protect you from the boogeymen that you think are going to break into your house in the middle of the night. And you know, it's driving an industry, private prisons, the CDCR, you know, the money's going to labor and wages and support needs to keep a prison going, and businesses, and we're sacrificing our kids for that industry.
Thank you so much for sharing.
I just really quick, if I could weigh in too, right? I think like system impacted people who are getting out and leading this charge is the best example, right? And building that sense of community that's necessary for us to come together as a whole and attack those things that we know are unjust, to me, is our messaging, right? I mean, because the status quo, the system, are going to continue to put messaging out there counterproductive to what we're doing. I think the unity in numbers and the sense of community that we developed during our grassroots movement and really get people to understand that reinvest, reimagine, and all of these other concepts that we are working with within this coalition is necessary, because when people believe that they are worthy, and when people know that somebody is willing to invest in them, sometimes that's all of the impetus that one needs to make the right decisions. For a long time in prison before I made the decision to change my life, I lived in a hopeless situation because I believed that there was no one there to grab my hand. And with that particular belief, I saw no one. And it took some people who really cared about humanity to say, hey, you so much more than you are capable. I mean, you're so much more than you are allowing yourself to be. And that really made me go into myself and think about becoming a better person and actually doing that, because somebody actually believed in me. And so that's the message for me. I believe enough in people who have made a mistake that don't totally define them, and willing to help them come out and provide all of the necessary resources that we can to give individuals the best leverage that they can to succeed. All it takes is for us to believe in people, and people ultimately make that change with the support system that they should have. And so with that, I think that that's what it is. Reinvest, reimagine, and give people opportunities to make better decisions for themselves.
Thank you so much, y'all. Are there any other questions?
I don't have any coming through the chat on my end, as I'm kind of coming through the last few messages coming through the chat. So if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself. If not, then I believe we are going to move on to a breakout group activity that our hosts have so graciously put together for us. I see people are just excited. So yeah, it doesn't look like we have questions. I see people are excited and ready to join these breakout groups. So please proceed.
Yeah, so we are ready. Taina, Zakia, Yaya, let me know if y'all are ready, and I will break everybody out into groups.
Yeah, I think we're ready. Just to say, so we're gonna break out into these rooms to discuss these 3 questions right here. We also want to have like this space be an opportunity to like brainstorm with y'all, you know, since we are going to be like asking for your support for this campaign. We also want to have the opportunity to hear from you. So we'll take maybe like 10-15 minutes to talk about these 3 points. 1, what makes you most excited about repealing 3 strikes? 2, how do you envision yourself being involved in this movement? And 3, what are some ideas that you have to help build this movement? So we'll just have an informal conversation in our groups, and then we'll all come back before we close out the meeting.
Awesome. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes, everybody. Welcome, everyone. We're just going to give folks a couple of seconds to rejoin the main group and have our guests close out the meeting. So thank you for being here and just giving our members a minute to catch up and rejoin the larger group.
While everybody's coming back, I just want to say I love our members. Y'all are the absolute best. I always feel so inspired after being in an Initiate Justice member meeting. So thank you all for being part of this. And I'm really confident that we're going to repeal 3 strikes in 2022 because of people like you all.
And it looks like we have everybody back. So I'll pass it back over to our guest if you wanted to close up and wrap up your presentation. So feel free to take it away.
Thank you so much, Daisy. And I just want to second what Taina said. I'm not able to come to the meetings that often because I have a rambunctious 2-year-old who you guys have probably heard screaming at certain points in the background. But definitely when I can, I am here. You all are family, and I'm a part of IJ. So I just appreciate you all opening this space to just talk about this movement. And just want to talk about some ways that folks can stay connected, which we've kind of talked about throughout. Hey, Jeanette. And I just want to give a little side note. Like, I've known Jeanette since I was like a little girl. So I just, hey.
She was my sister's grade, so I was older, but.
Yeah.
Lucky.
So our website, repeal3strikes.org. As soon as it is live, we will definitely let you all know via social media. So be sure to follow us on all of the social media platforms at Repeal 3 Strikes. And if you have any questions, just want to follow up, say hey, please send us an email at contact@repeal3strikes.org, and we will definitely get back to you all. And thank you for the definition of rambunctious, because that is definitely Nova. And I will pass it to Taina.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Just thank you again for giving us this space. I feel the enthusiasm. I feel the passion. Our next immediate step is joining the fundraising, the grassroots fundraising orientation on Friday. I hope that you all do join. I'm really excited to hear folks' creative ideas for fundraising. So I hope to see you Friday evening. And then Yaya, I'll pass it to you if you have any closing words.
Absolutely. Again, I just want to thank everybody at IJ for the opportunity of allowing us to present. And I also have a message for Irma, who was in our breakout group, because our breakout group shut down before I could finish my point. But Irma, I want you to know that that one phone call from legislatures that go unanswered will eventually become thousands of phone calls, right? That one letter that you sent will eventually become thousands of letters. And hopefully if this COVID lifts, we will be at the Capitol with signs and everything else, picketing and encouraging our elected officials to stand with courage, right? And to stand with the community and not special interests. The power is in the people, the power is in the numbers, the power is in the community. If they're not willing to do what we want them to do, then we're gonna do what's absolutely necessary by taking this to the 2022 ballot and getting this thing overturned, and it's just the beginning. And so, Irma, we stand with you in numbers, we stand with you in spirit, we stand with you in strength, and we're gonna do this in 2022 and bring your loved ones home.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, I know you was talking to Miss Irma, but I feel like you was talking to all of us and encouraging all of us. So I appreciate that. And just want to close with this famous quote by Fannie Lou Hamer, which is nobody's free until everybody's free. And so many of us are affected, whether you have a loved one who you have personally that's incarcerated or not. Like, incarceration affects the entire community. And in order for us to be safe, we gotta bring them all home. And make sure that we are investing in the things that will actually keep us safe. And so just thank you all so much. And I feel like, Erlon, did you have a closing word?
No, I was looking at these pictures. I see my boys and them on here, T now. But no, I just appreciate everybody. This has been a long struggle. And it's a lot of people inside, men and women, that deserve to be home, that shouldn't be up under this law. And I just appreciate everyone for being on here. Appreciate IJ for all this. So thank you.
Thank you all.
Did I say that?
Thank you to our guests again for this amazing presentation. I was bouncing around the 3 rooms, but it was just really, really enriching to hear the conversations that were happening in each room. So I hope that folks enjoyed that. And again, the links are in the chat if you are inclined to sign up tonight for any of these email lists, events that are happening with 3 Strikes. Make sure to follow them on social media. Even a simple share of an event or the campaign is enough to spread the word. And so those are just some of the ways that you can help in helping this movement. So thank you to our guests for being here. And again, if there's any questions, feel free to direct all of those questions to the email that's in the chat. We will be sharing all of these links in a follow-up email. But again, just appreciate you all for being here and for sharing from your from your perspective and your personal stories. And so we are wrapping up the meeting, and I wanted to, this is a special moment at the time of the meeting where we announce our member of the month. This is a member that, that we identify as someone who has made contributions to our organizations, either through their volunteer capacity or just being a super stellar person. And so for this month, we actually had a lot of nominations for this individual, both on staff and from our various members. And so it is my sincere honor to introduce to everybody our member of the month. So this person has been an official Initiate Justice Outside member since October of last year. They've been heavily involved in various committees. In our Inside Membership Committee as a volunteer, they have entered over 1,000 names alone in their spare time. And this is entering names of individuals inside state prisons who want to receive our newsletters. And so just that contribution alone has helped those 1,000 individuals get on the mailing list for the upcoming newsletter that is going to be sent out in the next couple of weeks. This person is also a phone trainer for our inside organizers. And so as part of our inside organizing committee, they make that contribution by making that time to invest in the leadership of our members on the inside who are wanting to become the best organizers that they can be on the inside. They also have contributed to the newspaper that goes inside to our inside organizers, and is also lovingly called a policy watchdog, who has devoted so many resources to our advocacy committee and the campaigns that we're working on, even creating templates that can assist our members in the spring legislative visit. So this person has been dubbed by our team as a true social justice wizard. And I just wanted to have you all join me in congratulating Crispy as our member of the month for the month of April. Many of you likely have seen her in meetings. Maybe she was part of your breakout session. I'm just really honored to have you on our team, Crispy, as a supporter. And we just wanted to take a moment to highlight you and thank you for all of the contributions that you've made to our team. And didn't want to put you on the spot, but if you want to make any remarks as far as like why us, feel free to do that, because we have people in this meeting who are first timers. So if you wanted to take a moment, feel free to do that. But we are so fortunate and blessed to have you be part of our team. So thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you. I just love this organization. The energy, just the love, I just feel so welcome here. To do this work, this is some hard stuff. And it's just so good to be in the company of so many great people to do it. And I just love doing this work. And I've learned so much, especially around legislation and everything like that. And I really enjoy talking to people inside and giving them a little bit of hope, because I think that goes a long way. So thank you.
We absolutely love you, Crispy, and just know that there were so many Initiate Justice members and staff who felt that you really earned the title for April Member of the Month. So we appreciate you, and please keep coming back. We love having you be part of our team, and thank you again. We'll be sending you a virtual Rolls Royce via email for you to claim. you know, and as a thank you for your contributions to our team. Before I pass it off to Antoinette to close out the meeting, I also wanted to highlight one other person who's actually another Initiate Justice member who has been part of various committees, who's actually celebrating a birthday today. And so I was hoping that folks can join me in giving some warm happy birthday congratulations to our amazing Initiate Justice outside member, MJ, who is on tonight's call. I would volunteer to serenade everybody in a happy birthday, but this is being recorded and going online, so I don't know how folks feel about that. So please blow some emoji, Zoom reactions with celebratory horns. Tell MJ happy birthday. We love having you on our team, MJ, and thank you so much for being with us tonight. So the happiest of birthday to you for being with us tonight. So thank you again for being here. And for folks who are still on the call, if you want to check out Lee's background, he has Crispy featured on his background as well. So again, thank you, Crispy, for being our valued Initiate Justice outside member. So with that being said, thank you, Crispy. Happy birthday, MJ. And let's pass it over to Antoinette to wrap up the meeting.
Thank you so much, Daisy. I mean, okay, 14 new members. We have 2 bills that made it out of the Public Safety Committee, an all-star member of the month, a birthday, and you're on our call joining us with IJ, and we're about to repeal 3 strikes in California. I cannot say how much I love and am honored to be a part of Initiate Justice, and it's with the work and through the assistance and support of all of you that we're able to accomplish so much. And then not to mention over 39,000 inside members. Like I'm just overwhelmed with joy and excitement, and just really, again, I couldn't have been part of a better organization than Initiate Justice. So with that, I just want to highlight that our next member meeting is going to be on May 5th. So please continue to join us, continue to support our work. We hold our monthly member meetings on the first Wednesday of every month. The link to RSVP is always going to be the same for this year. So it's the bit.ly/IJ monthly RSVP 2021. So I plugged that link into the chat for everyone. So make sure you RSVP now for next month's member meeting. And then I also wanted to plug the link for everyone who, if it's your first meeting, or maybe it's your second or third meeting and you haven't yet signed up for a committee, or maybe you want to sign up for another committee after hearing our updates and the work that we're doing. So I wanted to plug our link where you can sign up, get yourself on our roster, and acknowledge which committees you want to be a part of so that you can receive updates as to the meetings, the work, and the ways that you can get plugged into this movement. So again, thank you so much to the Repeal 3 Strikes Coalition. Super excited. Congratulations again to Crispy. And then not to mention in our breakout room, Crispy was like, when we talked about how can you contribute to the Repeal 3 Strikes movement, she was like, with money. I'm going to tap into all of my money resources and I'm going to get them to donate. And we all know that when you follow the money, that we can always get a win that way. So super excited to and grateful to have your support, Crispy, and everyone else who's here. If tonight is your first Initiate Justice membership meeting, please stay on to hear more from myself and Daisy as we do a quick new member orientation and really just clarify some of the things you may have heard and not know how it works to be a member and how to become an official member with Initiate Justice. But other than that, thank you, everyone. It's midweek. Please enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. Oh yes, don't forget that our Inside Organizing Committee meets tomorrow, and the fundraising committee for the Repeal 3 Strikes, the fundraising committee orientation, is on Friday. See you all next month or throughout the month at our committee meetings. Bye.
Hey, Andre,